We're not teaching you how to become successful after dropping out. We're teaching you how to drop out successfully.
Yeah.
All right? Because we're both experts. We both dropped out on the first try and never went back. So we have a 100% success rate as of right now. We did the do and we did the work. We had the experience to, prove our work. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Walk to Wealth podcast. If you're tuning in on YouTube or any of the podcast directories, make sure to do yourself one teeny tiny little favor and make sure to give us a follow, because I don't want you to miss out on any of the amazing episodes we got coming on this year. Without further ado, let's get right into this one. If you've been keeping up with this collab episode series that I got going on with Darren, you would know that we just talked about how to successfully drop out of college. We gave you the blueprint, the step-by-step strategies to successfully drop out. Now, again, I want to say that we're not teaching you how to become successful after dropping out. We're teaching you how to drop out successfully.
Yeah.
All right? Because we're both experts. We both dropped out on the first try and never went back. So we have a 100% success rate as of right now.
Yeah.
If it changes after this video, that's on y'all, not me.
Yeah.
We did the do and we did the work. We had the experience to prove our work.
That's
and now we're gonna be talking about now we're gonna be talking about real estate, bro. We both got into real estate immediately after dropping out, pretty much. Mm-hmm. That's probably the reason why we both drop out, was to get into real estate. Mm-hmm. And in this episode, we're gonna be talking about more like the backstory of all right, how to get your real estate license, how we got our license, and just kind of give the step-by-steps.
Yeah.
And then in the next episode, we're going to be covering the pros and cons and whether if you even should get into real estate, even if it's even worth your time. Yeah. Right? Because as I said, me and Darren both been in it. I have my real estate license now since September of 2021, and Darren had yours since when?
November 2022.
Yeah, so we've both had our license for quite some time now. I'm no longer in real estate as an active agent. Darren still is, so that's where we're coming in the next episode. But in this one, let's go back in a time machine, man. Mm-hmm. Take us back to how you got your real estate license. So again, you decided to drop out to pursue real estate. What was the first step there? And then because our stories are kind of similar, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just stop at each step and discuss at each step. So what was the first step?
So first step is, as soon as college ended, it was May something, and I signed up for Real Estate University. Real Estate University is in Connecticut. It's the classes, or it's a Zoom option class where you can, take the classes needed to get your real estate license online.
Yeah, and Real Estate University, I said, this is a class that is cost about $565, if I'm not mistaken, or $5 something, and that's for the class itself and the books. And now the classes, if I'm not mistaken, it's 15 classes?
Yeah, it's 15 classes. You could take them either in the morning or at night. I think at night it starts at 6. In the morning it starts at 9.
And it's 4-hour classes.
Yep.
You have to be on there. I think they have 1 or 2 breaks in between.
Yep.
But pretty much straight through.
And you gotta have your camera on.
And you gotta have your camera on. And one of the things that sucks about it is if you miss a class, it only teaches that class once per cycle. So they teach, lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 15, and then they go back to 1. So let's say you're there for lesson 1, you're there for lesson 2, and then you miss lesson 3.
Yep.
Well, you're gonna have to wait until they go through 4 to 15 and 1 and 2 again, and then go back to 3. So, there's pros and cons because they do offer a morning and a night option. But it's damn, you have sometimes it could take. Sometimes 3 to 4 weeks for it to go to a full cycle. Yeah, so if you miss one class, it'll take you a little while. But again, the class is super convenient because it had Zoom options. I'm not sure if they have in-person options. At the time, they didn't with both of us because we were still in the pandemic. Yeah. But they may have in-person options.
I think they do now, yeah. I think they do.
And so, so that's Real Estate University. I know they work for Connecticut, and I think they're good for New York as well. Yeah. And so that's where me and Darren both got ours. And then from there, once you finish your classes, what's the next step from there?
So your next step from there is you have to take the class exam. After you do all your classes, you take the class exam, and you can.
And how was that?
Oh, that test was I don't know. I forget if I failed or passed the first time.
I cheated.
Yeah, no, I cheated. Long story short, I cheated. I had the answers all pulled up. The answers, I was copying the answers, putting them in Google, and finding the answers. So. Once you pass that, you have to get the certificate saying that you passed. After you get that, you want to send that over to No, you have to get that notarized.
Yeah.
You have to get it notarized.
Yeah, you gotta get it notarized. You have to send it in to
PSI.
the national PSI headquarters. You have to mail it.
To like Nevada.
In Nevada. I think it's in Vegas actually, in Nevada, to be specific. And so the notary is super cheap. I think it cost me like $10 or something, like $20 maybe, to get my joint notarized. There was a notary in downtown Stanford. I went to the spot, got notarized, and left after that, and boom, I mailed it over. The mailing process did take a little while, and you had to pay a fee. I think it was like $200 to get the. I think apply to get the PSI or something like that to be in the system.
Yeah, to get in the system. Yeah, because they'll send you like something once they say they received it, and then you gotta like log in, and then you gotta pay, and then I think you gotta pay. You pay that, but I also think when you pay that, it allows you to take the test for like a portion. Yeah. So yeah.
And so from there, once you, as I said, you have to wait to get a heads up from PSI. But once you do that, then from there they'll send you pretty much the A-OK to schedule your exam.
Yeah.
Once you create your account, and then from there you can take it's 2 exams in one.
Yep.
Right, and it takes about like 3 hours to get through, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a national portion, which is about 80 questions, if I'm not mistaken.
Nah, it's more now.
Nah, it's more. Yeah. It's like somewhere between 80 and 100, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's like 100 something.
And then I think it's closer to 100.
Yeah.
And then there's a state exam, which I think is like 35 questions or something like that.
Yeah, the weird thing that they do with the test is, at least when I took it, is they give you like 5 questions or 5 or 10 questions that like don't mean anything. Like like it doesn't matter if you get them right or wrong, but like when you're sitting there taking the test, you don't know which questions that is. So
yeah, so that's the annoying part. And like for the exam, you need to get a 70 on both parts to pass, right? So you need to get a 70 on the national and a 70 on the state. But here's a good thing. If you pass the national and fail the state, the next time around you only have to worry about taking a state, right? And there's a fee to take the exam. So I would recommend passing it on the first time.
Yeah.
It took me 3 tries. So what I did was, I failed the first time. When it came to scheduling, I scheduled for the Queens location because it was, 1, closer to me, and then 2, it had a lot more availability than the Milford location.
Yeah.
And so that's how I did it. And then from there, first time I failed, and then second time, I realized there was a lot of the same questions the first time around. Then when I took it the second time from the first time around, and then from there I tried to write down as many and memorize them, and then I ended up failing the second again. And I was off by like 2 or 3 points both times, which was annoying.
Yeah.
And so that was super annoying. And the third time, I was like, man, I gotta take a train, a freaking Uber, and a bus just to get here, bro. So I'm not gonna be doing this again. And so I remember it like it was yesterday because I still had to clock in the sign later that afternoon. So like I freaking spent the whole morning trying to get there, take that exam, and then I ended up passing. And I think this was the day after my birthday, right after I turned 20, or I think it was right after I turned 19 or 20, I forget. And then from there, this is 2021, and then from there, I ended up passing. And I studied a little bit more, like the week leading up to it. When it came to the questions, there was like a few chapters that were like heavily, all the questions heavily relied on, and like a lot of big chunks of the question came from those few chapters. I have the chapters highlighted in a photo. So if you're trying to get your license in Connecticut, just hit me up on IG and I'll send them. But and there's a couple chapters in there that a lot of the questions came from. And so when I did my little bit of studying, I made sure to go back and check those and reread those. And by reread, I just mean go through the test exam, the practice exams in the book. Yeah. I just went through those questions. But yeah, so it took me 3 tries to pass mine. How do you end up passing yours?
It took me 5 for the Fed, 6 for the state. Yeah, I just ended up, so like John said, bro, it's a lot of money. It's like $80 to reschedule the test every time you fail. So yeah, if you could not, that would be great. What I did to pass though was there's this Dearborn app that's like for the real estate exam, and you can like pay for it, and they'll like let you like get access to like a whole bunch of practice exams, and like John said, the one section like they give you the test kind of like how they would like in the thing, but they don't give you the exact question. So like when you look at the practice exam and then you go to the test, like a few of them you're gonna know off the rip, but what I did to pass mine was I just kept like the first 2 times I didn't even use the app, but the last 3 I studied like real hard. I would get there like an hour before, and like take the practice exams. The only bad thing about the app, the Dearborn app, is it doesn't have like state specific. So if you wanted to like practice your state like one's exam, like you can't. But to be honest with you, like the state portion is way easier. Like kind of the state portion is like it's common sense.
Yeah, a lot of it, like a lot of logic involved.
Yeah,
and like not like logic in like a hard like puzzly way.
Like
it's like common sense type stuff.
Yeah, like
but like common
really
sense,
just common sense
isn't also common.
I mean,
so
yeah, it's
like,
not common at all.
So that's the whole separate issue. But for the state portion, is that one? It's a lot less questions, a little bit easier, and like they're all real estate related, and both parts of the exam are all multiple choice. There's no any open ended questions. So like part of taking multiple choice tests is knowing what the answer isn't. And so a lot of time people are trying to get the right answer on the first try. Sometimes I'll be going through exams and I'm just like Xing out what the wrong answer is. Like I know that's wild. Like that's definitely not the right answer. Like no way. So I'll be Xing stuff out, and now my percentages go from 25% to 33% to 50%. Right? I X out 1, now we're at 1/3, right? And now I X out 2, and now it's 50-50, right? And so now I have a higher likelihood of passing and getting a better score because I'm eliminating a lot of the options. So that's how I ended up passing my exam. In the meantime, while I was taking these exams, I was talking to brokerages. And so I ended up getting connected with someone at Keller Williams, and this person at Keller Williams specifically is called a team leader. They're in charge of like recruitment. And like most brokerages usually have someone, at least most bigger brokerages, like the nationwide ones, have someone that's in charge of recruiting. The mom and pop brokerages, you can probably just reach out to people who run those brokerages, depending on how small they are, how big they are. But like usually there's someone that's in charge of recruiting and growing the company. And that's the person you want to find a way to get in contact with. A lot of these big websites, these nationwide companies like KW, Coldwell, if you just go on their local website, you can, there's like start a career in real estate, something like that. And
you'll probably get contacted by like a system team leader.
Or you can hit up me or Darren, and then we can connect you to someone. No matter, I mean, this episode specifically is for getting licensed in Connecticut, but like no matter where you are in the U.S. or in the world, like if you want to get your real estate license, like you can hit either of us up, and we'll connect you with someone in your area. That at least if you're looking to get into KW specifically. And so at least at this point in time, because just my dip, dude. Like, for the time being, like if you're interested in getting in at KW, let us know. We could find you someone in your area to connect you to, and then from there, I was talking to them, and I was talking to someone from Coldwell at the same time, and so at the time, I was leaning kind of more towards Coldwell because I knew a person there that I met at K Jewelers, but then with KW, they just had so much more bells and whistles. So it was like the nice shiny object, like it's like the Ferrari versus like, you feel me, the Lexus. Like there were two nice cars, but like it's a sports car and then like a regular luxury sedan. You feel me? So it's like not that the other one was bad. It's just like one was a little nicer, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
At least on paper, it looked a little nicer.
Yeah.
And so I ended up trying to connect with the team leader, Steve. He wasn't there, so his assistant at the time, Carlos, reached out to me, got on a phone call with me. And so me and him met 3 or 4 times before we actually ended up, before I actually ended up going with KW. Gotcha. And so by the time I passed my real estate exam, I ended up working. I remember I talked to a lady at Coldwell, and like she was backing out because this is during the pandemic. She was like, "Oh, I don't know, because of health concerns, whatever." And I'm like, "Man, all right, whatever." I kind of seen that coming. As soon as I got off the phone with her, bro, mind you, I'm at Sign the Whale. I texted Carlos over at KW, and I was like, "Yo, let me know I'm ready to start when you are." And so that's how I ended up choosing KW over Coldwell. But like, what was your reasoning for choosing KW aside from the fact that I kind of like told you I connected you to someone there? So like, well, how do you get connected, and tell us the backstory.
All right, so originally when I told John, I got a call. I think it was a day or 2 after from Adonis. Adonis is the team leader now. I think he's an actual like team leader in some of the brokerages, but back then he was a system team leader. So he reached out to me and just like after it was, I remember it vividly because it was after my first day of classes too. So like after that, he just called me at least like once or twice a month just to check in, just to see how I am. And nobody else was kind of reaching out to me. So I got a few letters in the mail. I remember I got one from Berkshire. I never heard from Coldwell, and I always just fuck. I forgot what I said. Don't worry, editor gonna edit that one out. But yeah, it's just I never heard from any of these other companies, so it was just like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna join you for?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like when it comes to joining a brokerage, like, what were you looking for? I know for me, like they mentioned splits and stuff like that, but like for me, I wasn't even worried about the splits. And splits are like how much you get paid when you close a deal. Mm-hmm. Usually, like sometimes someone will be on like a 70-30 split. That means, let's say you close a deal, you make a 10K commission, you'll get 70% of that, and the brokerage will get 30%.
Yeah.
And so that's like one of the things you may need to negotiate. But like when you're first getting into the business, honestly, if you're not selling anything, it doesn't really matter. So it's like as long as you can get at least 70-30, that's like pretty standard.
Yeah. Yeah, that's facts.
And like if you're getting less than 70-30 and they're not offering you anything like extra special, I would like big red flag.
Yeah.
But like 70-30 is like what I was starting. I ended up deciding to go as a solo agent.
Yeah.
Because as I said, with KW specifically, they had so many trainings. I'm like, in my head, I could figure something out. And so that's how I ended up getting my license. And once I did, then I had to pay a bunch of extra fees.
Oh my God.
Man, I had to pay a bunch of extra fees.
Don't even get me started.
So like,
you gotta pay your board. First, you gotta pay so you gotta join a board. Then you gotta pay the board fee. I think the board fee when I first joined was $6 something. Now it's $8. Then you have to join KW. You have to pay.
No, not even just that. Cause the board fee.
Oh, the MLS fee.
Yeah, the MLS fee. You have to get that, and then on top of that, then you have to pay your brokerage fee.
The brokerage fee. Yeah. So it's like altogether when you start from like classes to you're finally licensed and joining a brokerage, it's gonna be around like $3K, 2 to 3K.
And then depending on how fast you go through everything, it'll probably take you about 3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
Fastest 3 months.
That's like you never miss a class. You pass your exam first try, and there's availability nearby for you to even take the exam.
Yeah.
And then you have a brokerage that you already know where you want to go to lined up.
Yeah.
And like so, all in, it could be as high as 3K, sometimes more depending on which state you're in. But for CC, about 3K.
Yeah.
And then about 3 months to 4 months, I'd say. Really, it's 3 to 6 months to get your license. So it's a bit of a process, right? It's a bit tedious, but all in all, once you do get it, then from there, like if you get your license, once you're locked in, like if someone wanted to sell their house that day, you could sell that house, and and you'll be good. And then from there, that is pretty much the process. Did you miss out anything?
No, I don't think so.
Right, it's just like you want to sign up for your real estate university classes, take the class exam, then send out your application to notarized application to the PSI. Then from there, take your PSI exam, pass both the national and the state exam. In the meantime, you should be, while you're studying for the national and state exam, you should be talking to brokerages, because you don't want to wait until after you pass to start finding a brokerage. You want to be talking to them, while you're taking the exam, so that when you do pass, you already know where you want to go, and you can get the ball rolling a lot faster and a lot smoother, right? So I would be interviewing brokerages while you're studying for your exams, and then from there, once you pass, you got to join a board, pay your fees, get the MLS, get the fees for that, right? Download the MLS app on your phone, because you're going to need that joint.
You definitely are.
You're going to need that joint in order to get into houses. And then from there, you get with a brokerage. You're going to probably have to pay the broker fees. And then from there, then you're pretty much licensed, active, and ready to start buying, selling, and investing properties.
Yes, you are. And
so,
just another thing. Make sure when you interview these brokerages, make sure that they can actually offer you something. Just don't look at like John said, just don't look at the split. 80-20 split, you have no coach. You have no coach, no support, and you can't talk to anyone. Like
no one in the office.
Yeah, no one in the office.
Like our office is a ghost town.
It's a ghost town. But at the very least, we have the number one, I think. Yeah, she's the number one coach in all like KW, all the productivity coaching. She's like the number one, I'm pretty sure. So that was,
Yeah, and one thing, even though our office is a ghost town, when events do happen, we pack this joint up.
Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of
like
people.
People come in deep when it's event time. That's the only thing. But like on the day to day, ain't no one here.
Yeah, nobody's here.
And that's why me and Darren be coming in the office recording because you're not gonna hear you never hear any background noise either because ain't no one.
Ain't no one's here. I promise you, no one's here.
Never here. Yeah. So that's it. So in the next episode, we're gonna be covering whether it's worth getting into real estate because the barrier to entry is very low. Like you don't really need to be skilled or you don't need any
do a little bunny
degrees. You don't need to be really have anything. You can just kind of get your license, and if you find someone to help sponsor your whole journey, like you can really get into real estate for almost nothing, close to nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just not
Just gotta pay for your fees
and take the classes and pass the exam. So it's like time.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's pretty easy to get your real estate license.
Yeah.
And there's not anything that's complicated, right? I'm not gonna say that it's simple to get your license, right? The test both of us did fail multiple times. And but yeah, so there's pros and cons to everything. But that's what we're gonna cover in the next episode. And that's all for now. Any last words?
Nah, no last words.
All right. So we'll see you in the next one.
All right.